Opinions, viewpoints, and beliefs presented on this program do not necessarily reflect those of the management, the affiliates and broadcast partners, or the sponsors. Listener discretion is advised.
Scarefest Radio, the radio you can see.
And good evening, and welcome everyone to Scarefest Television. The original broadcast date, August 18th, 2023. Somebody did the math and says we have like 65 days left. 60-some days left till Scarefest 2023. My co-host tonight, the lovely and talented Claire Heaney, is back with us this week. And you look bright this week, Claire. You look like you're more into it, or happy to be here. Yeah. And our guest tonight is Freddie's mom herself, Beatrice Boepple, who incidentally did not trust that I had researched how to say her last name. How many people get that wrong?
Oh, everybody. Oh, everybody gets it wrong.
Yes, that was that's the recreation of her child, her love child. No, we shouldn't say that. Ooh. The
love child, huh?
How was it referred to? The bastard child of
100 maniacs.
100 maniacs. 100 maniacs. Also, my favorite band in the late 80s. Also.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, okay, everybody, we're going through some announcements tonight at the half-hour mark. I have one new one sort of new one, thanks to Brandon Griffith, spilling the beans at another convention. And then we're going to just go over some stuff. But the star of the evening, Beatrice Boepple. Okay, everybody, you know her from Nightmare on Elm Street Part 5, which incidentally, one of my favorite from the franchise. I'm just going to say it.
Really?
I don't know.
That means you got good taste.
That could have been it. I think it's because I thought in that one, they finally had the budget to do what they wanted. Does that make sense? It felt more put together. But I watched Christmas Comes to Willow Creek. And now you laugh, but I want to tell you, everybody, look it up, Google it, find it on your Roku device, whatever. She's in it, 60 seconds?
Barely, yeah. They cut my lines.
You get half speaking. Okay, that was part of what I was going to ask you. But I'm going to tell you, your 60 seconds of fuck you, John Schneider looking, that eyeball thing you did on him, it was Oscar worthy.
Oh, well, thank you.
Now, I'm not going to dwell on this all night. When you got there and you saw his porn stash, what did you think?
Well, the two brothers, I mean, I had watched the Dukes of Hazzard, but I was actually, it was such a fun little shoot. What did I think of his porn stash? I mean, really?
Now the reason I realize I'm looking at it looking back, and back then that was a thing. But okay, I turned the movie on, realizing you weren't going to be in it a great deal. I can usually guess by the IMDb, the order the cast is presented. But I turned it on, and the credits came on. I go, oh, this is going to hurt. This is going to hurt. This is going to be painful. And then I got to see John Schneider and his porn stash, and I went, oh my God, this is great. And then I watched the entire movie because it was such a throwback. So, to a simpler time.
I will say, if you watch the whole thing, in that 60 little second scene in the restaurant or wherever we were, the waitress with a cowboy hat that served us, that actress is Karen Carnival, and she's actually a fabulous Canadian actress. And if any of you are Planet of the Apes fans, which I am, the last three Planet of the Apes with Andy Serkis playing Caesar, she's Maurice, the orangutan.
Wow.
Which is, if you watch
Yes.
the movie, it's a huge, big male orangutan, and that girl was teeny, right? She's a small little thing, and she plays, they do it with mocap, motion capture, and she worked with and studied apes, to prepare for it, and does a fabulous job. Anyway, just a little inside thing.
Little trivia. We'll
Maybe on that little
plug that
scene, yeah.
into the trivia screen. Okay, now, serious question. Now, you were fairly busy, according to IMDb, from about 1986 until 92.
Yeah.
What'd you do after that?
So basically it was after I finished theater school, university. I got very busy and started working in Vancouver, because that's where I was when I went to university. And the Vancouver film scene was hopping, tons and tons of stuff going on. And I worked my way up to, starring in a couple Canadian films. You can see behind me, Matinee. That's me. And then where is it? Quarantine up there. Anyway, yeah, so I was really busy, but I did, tons of stuff, theater, radio, TV, all of that, which is what you get to do when you're an actor in Canada. You get to do everything, and keep working. They don't put you in a, little bucket. They don't just marginalize you as to only TV or only film or only stage. You get to just do whatever you want. And I think Hollywood too is finally getting a little better. Obviously, the crossover between TV and film now, because the streaming service is there, but it didn't used to be that way. Anyhow, so after doing all that, I end up moving to Los Angeles, and the first role I got was Elm Street. And after that, the only things they would let me read for, the only things they would let me audition for was horror films. That's it. And they were bad. I mean, the scripts that I was presented were really, really, really bad. I just couldn't stomach the thought of doing it. And for that reason, because I didn't want to be typecast after all of this, and also more for personal reasons, trying to get away from a relationship a codependent relationship that, we would always end up getting back together. And it was that relationship that caused me to move to Los Angeles to follow him. I decided I got to break up with this guy. And what do you do when you want to break up? You move to India. I mean, that's what you all do, right? So
Awesome.
yeah, so I moved. Well, actually, I first moved to Taiwan, and I taught for about a year in Taiwan. I was teaching acting and English and to Mongolian students and Taiwanese businessmen and such. And then I moved to India, and I ended up living there for 2 years, living in an ashram, studying meditation and doing volunteer work on a mobile hospital.
No.
And after that, honestly, it was the first time in my life that while you're living in the ashram, you are, first of all, you're not judged, or if you are judged, just for the inner character. Like, nobody pays attention to what you look like on the outside. We all wear, big Punjabis or saris, or, and even whether there were some celebrities there too. It's the ashram that's written about in Eat, Pray, Love, but she was there writing that book actually at the time. But anyway, whatever you do on the outside world didn't matter. You could be a big movie star and they'd have you wash dishes or sweep the floor. It really was about building your inner self. And so for the first time, just being accepted for who I was on the inside, the thought of going back to Los Angeles or, anywhere really, and going through the motions of trying to get started as an actor again, auditioning and getting rejected and being told you're too big or you're too small or you're too old, you're too young, all that stuff. I couldn't do it. So and then in particular, when I met the man who ended up becoming my husband and we decided to get married and decided to have children, at this point I was in my mid-30s. I had held off from getting married prior to that. I'd been asked many times, but I just wasn't ready. And so I made that decision that if I'm going to have kids this late in life, then I want to be a full-time mom. I want to be there for them. I don't want to have and we were fortunate enough that my husband made enough that I could do that. Instead I opened up a yoga studio in my home, and I taught, and I did teach acting and stuff on the side, but I was basically home 100%. So I walked away from acting. It was a choice that I made. And yeah.
Wes, I think we need to bring in like Scarefest yoga now.
There you go.
Working on it.
Yeah, that would be
You
awesome.
should.
I would.
I am. There actually is one convention that I will be doing some yoga at. So it has been, yeah, Scarefest yoga.
Exactly.
Scare away the aches and pains or something, you know.
I mean, we do like the screaming contest, so it's like it's just opposite. It's like no screaming here.
Well, scream first, let it all out, and then get calm. You know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. Did I answer the question? Now I totally forgot. I
yes,
will talk forever and ever.
Yes, in depth. Claire,
Okay.
it's all yours now.
Oh, okay. Well, so I see you've got the little doll in the back, and I know like in the main photo. So did a fan make that for you, or?
Well, that one is my Amanda Kruger figure. It's made by Custom Horror Dolls, and it actually, I do sell them for fans, you know, to add to their collection because they get to have, you know, there's so many Freddies, but you know, some people would like to have Amanda next to Freddy. So there is that. And awesome. We're actually working on accessories for her, which would be the black, you know, that creepy carriage, which, wait, hold on. If I can sneak back here. So we want to try to get it in a size that actually works for her, but you know, you can have the.
That's awesome.
Right. And then of course the little baby Freddy inside it. So yes, so it's my action figure and she will come with those. And then the bust, John Henderson of Doomsday Crypt had commissioned to get that made for me. So that was really sweet. Yeah, that was a gift he gave me at a show. And then there is also another Amanda Kruger figurine that was from one of the at one of the shows I was at. They had a 3D shrink yourself kind of thing. It's a van. I can't. And anyway, so yeah, that's a shrunken me.
Nice. That's really cool. Yeah, I feel like the little baby stroller. It's like something out of like the king cakes and Mardi Gras. Like I feel like New Orleans, very New Orleans-esque.
Yeah. But this is the one that appears in 5, and you see it creeping across the, you know, yeah.
That is really awesome.
Thank you.
So like with Comic-Cons, like has anyone ever come up to you and like professed their love or anything?
Well, yes. Yes.
That's fun.
Yeah, and I mean in particular, I mean, you know, the fans are great, and horror fans are the best in the world, the most devoted, and you know, they you know, horror fans are the reason our films from 30, 40 years ago, you know, are still being loved and out there. Yeah, if it weren't for the fans, forget it, you know.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's a whole like opens up another market, I feel like, with the Comic-Cons, like, you know, like all the memorabilia and everything.
Yeah. And you know, and getting to meet each other is really cool. You know, fans get to meet the people that they grew up watching, and we get to hear the stories of how what we did affected their lives, which, you know, is kind of shocking. And you think, what, really? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, pat yourself on the back.
Really I can do that because I'm a yoga teacher.
Exactly.
Well, everybody, we're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back after this message.
Horror. Movies. Fans. For. Life. On Facebook. Find us. For watch parties. For news. For memes. For friends. For life. Horror movie fans for life. Join us.
And welcome back, everybody. We're sitting here with Beatrice Boepple. I'm going to go ahead. One of the questions from the chat room had to do with yoga. And actually, that's kind of what I wanted to talk to you a lot about tonight, because I'm a reformed not healthy person. So, and yoga is something I've kind of played around with, but DDP yoga. What is your opinion? What do you think of DDP yoga?
I think it's great. I mean, if he's able to reach the manly man that, just would men, it's so funny. North American men or Western men, have this thing that, oh, yoga is not for them. And, it's a women's thing, which for 4,000 years, it was only done by men. It was invented in India. And women weren't even allowed to do yoga. And here in the West, it's completely different. So, if Diamond Dallas, I mean, and just in his approach, he's down to earth and he finds, a way of explaining it and presenting it that's just approachable to guys. I think that's cool. I'm all for it.
Now, incidentally, the one I'm looking at closest is I've seen on Facebook. I haven't tried it yet, but it's called Lazy Man's Yoga, I believe is the name of it.
Okay.
And basically, it's probably like it's a lot of some chair yoga.
Okay.
But I think I looked at one. It was beginner yoga on YouTube. I did it. I liked it all. But as a dude, I could not bring, what's it called? Laughing baby.
Okay.
You
lay down and
yeah. I could not bring myself to do it. I admit it. I just could not.
Just what you could not, like you couldn't get a hold of your feet, or you just thought it was too weird?
It was too weird. It was too weird. I could not do it. And then
but you were alone, right? You were alone. I mean, I can see you not wanting to do it in a class, maybe, but.
You see, this is male psychology.
Well, I'll tell you, because of male psychology, I teach a class. I teach a stretch class, and basically and it's seated in chairs, and we stretch, and it was developed because so many of the women who would take my classes would say, "Oh my God, my husband needs yoga so badly. He's so tight and uptight and physically tight and inflexible, but he refuses to do yoga." So I said, well, then let's call it stretch, and we'll put them in chairs so they don't have to deal with hips and sitting on the floor. And men come to it all the time now, and they love it. And it's improved, and they see how it improves their sports, whatever sport they do, golf and everything, just their range of motion gets so much improvement from a few classes, and just how they feel in the morning and the lack of pain in their bodies, they get pretty hooked on it. And I use all the yoga philosophy kind of hidden into it. Like I don't talk about much, but it's incorporated. Basically just connecting your breath with the movement so that you really are experiencing and feeling what's going on. Yeah. But I swear by yoga for everybody. There's a way to modify any pose that will fit anybody. What you could be bedridden, and there's things we can do. Mm-hmm. So
that I'll say that that's one reason I would like to actually go to a class,
right?
Because I really don't embarrass that easy. Like the baby thing, that's just me being overly macho. And then somebody tells me, "Oh, by the way, that's one of the best exercises for your hip flexors."
Yeah, and for sure.
And that's one, and at the time, I was actually having trouble with that. So I said, maybe I'll give it a shot. Haven't revisited it, but I will say, because I'm going into it I'll put it this way. The people on YouTube, they call it beginner yoga.
Okay.
Have no idea how stiff a 60-year-old man gets. Okay? It just doesn't even seem to register.
Right.
Now, a movie question from the chat room. Okay, do you know why they went younger for the Amanda Kruger character?
It's so funny. It's funny that people are so confused by that. She's giving birth, guys. So Nan Martin, who played her in 3, was in her 60s when she played Amanda, and Amanda would have been about in her 60s when she locked herself away and died. But when she gave birth,
she probably wasn't 60.
No, and horror films, you can do almost anything, and he is bringing her back, so it could be, I suppose it could have been a 60-year-old Amanda, but that would be kind of creepy and gross and even weirder. So and he's coming back as a baby. Mind you, he grows up super quick. So Actually, now that you said that, wouldn't that be interesting? I had never ever even thought of that, but wouldn't it have been interesting if we saw the scene with me giving birth to him? I'm glad they didn't do it because then I wouldn't have been in the movie. I'd been in it even less than I was. But as he's growing up, she gets older. That would have been kind of interesting because he grows up really quick and he goes from being a baby to being Freddie. So when I approach, your birth was the curse and all that stuff, in a way, it kind of would have been interesting if she was back to like, but I mean, they couldn't use Nan because she had, well, no, she probably was still alive at that point. Anyway, questions. But yes, the reason they had her as a young Amanda was because he was bringing her back to give birth, and he, I guess, didn't want a 60-year-old mom giving birth to him.
Now, a quick follow-up to something you said before. You said, and I understand the emotion, but you said about you didn't want to, you were getting typecast.
Yeah.
Which, other than noticing that you played a nun in 2 different movies, I don't know.
More than that, actually.
You were not the typical girl, the parts I've seen in a horror movie. Right. Looking back now, do you think you processed that right? Because you've already said there's no fans on earth like horror movie fans.
Yeah.
They will come up and ask you why you turned left instead of right in the scene you don't even remember doing.
Yeah, 100%.
So do you think now that wouldn't have been such a bad gimmick after all?
Well, I could almost guarantee I'd be a lot wealthier. I probably would have been well known by that, if I had continued down that track. Part of it was, artistic conceit. I was still, I had been less than a decade out of theater school, and I was just, and it wasn't the same. It's not that snob, there is a snobbery thing against horror film in the industry. People always put it down with porn and not to put down porn for those who do porn, but they always were sort of thrown into the garbage heap artistically, and yet those of us who love horror, which I've learned to, just that you start to appreciate the incredible ingenuity and creativity that can be applied in a lot of the horror films, especially of the 80s. But I to this day, I'm honest with my fans, I hate gore. I'm very queasy, and I'm an empath, and I feel things. So like in a movie, when somebody's getting cut, I feel it. It's just gross. I physically feel it, and I have to close my eyes. So a lot of horror films I have to close my eyes throughout the whole dang thing, So I'm not into gore, but I do love scare, and I've always loved ghost stories, and I love psychological thrillers and psychological terror, and I do like getting scared. So, I've learned, and in the past 2 years that I've come back into this world of film and interacting with my fans and getting to know more and more and starting to go to conventions, I've developed a new love and appreciation for the genre, and and plus so many of my friends now are horror film actors. My agent has people from a lot of different franchises, so I've gotten to know them, and and I'm a nice person, so if a friend is in something, I go and watch it. I just did a film this year. I had a cameo in a film with David Howard Thornton, and it's hard. It's hard. I guess I have to close my eyes at that one scene in Terrifier 2. Cannot watch that. But yeah, I try to watch everybody's films now. So and I have a lot of catching up still to do. If I had stuck with it, I cannot in my right heart say it was a mistake, because I don't believe in mistakes. I believe things happen for a reason, and we all have a path that we're meant to go down. And I would never give up. What I learned in India and what I experienced doing that volunteer work was soul changing. So I don't have any regrets. However, had I gone that other route, had I stuck with it, who's to say what would happen? I think it would have been another choice. It would have been a different road I would have walked down, and and I think I probably would have a lot more money.
Claire, over to you.
No. Do you still talk to a lot of people that you've worked with, since?
Well, from 5 for sure. We've been doing, now that I'm doing conventions, so we all kind of travel as a pack together. I mean, we do a lot of shows together.
Awesome.
in different combinations. You know, I just last week was our anniversary, the 34th anniversary of Nightmare on Elm Street 5. So I had Lisa Wilcox and Danny Hassel and Joe Seeley and Kelly Jo Minter and Michael Bailey Smith, who was the Super Freddy, and there were a few. Erica and Whit could not make it, but basically the entire main cast of Elm Street 5,
Nice.
other than Robert, came on because I have a podcast that I do. So
Awesome.
yeah, so we keep in touch but mainly, yeah, at shows and like I said, I've gotten to know a lot of the other ones, like Ari Lehman from, you know, Friday the 13th, you know, the first Jason, and you know, just getting to know all these guys. It's kind of become like a little family, and yeah.
What's your podcast on?
So my podcast, we stream out of StreamYard, and it's right now it shows on. We go live on Facebook and YouTube, and it's through Doomsday Crypt. I don't know if you're familiar with those guys, John Henderson. So he has Doomsday Crypt podcast, and he has DK for Doomsday Crypt, DK and the Bee. DK and the Bee's Horror Buzz, that's with me. And then he has DK and the Schwag with Brett Wagner. And they do Shooting the Shiz with DK and the Schwag. So, and I believe all three of us are going to be together at Scarefest.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, so
Awesome.
it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah, like again, like you said, talking about routes and things like that you never would have, like, you know, how you stumble into things. And
For
I mean,
sure.
like you're a great speaker and everything, so you found your spot.
Yeah, well, it's yet another way to interact with the fans, and you know, I mean, to me, I'm just endlessly grateful to the fans. I mean, to me, all of this is 100% about the fans. I mean, the you know, podcasts for sure, and the conventions for sure. I mean, that's what it's there for. I wrote a book, and it was for the fans. It's all, you know, it's a mutual love fest back and forth.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, do you know about my book?
I have not. I had no idea.
Oh, here we go. Shameless plugging. Here we go.
Exactly.
So, and this I will be bringing to Scarefest.
Sweet.
It's The Kruger's Curse, A Nightmare Before Elm Street. And this I had written during the pandemic, and I had printed up 100, and they sold like that. And then so I printed up another 100, they sold like that. So this is the third printing, and it's the backstory. It's the prequel for Nightmare on Elm Street. Here's awesome. Freddy Krueger's family tree, and the artists are. I got a number of really good artists. Oh, here, look at this. A scene we do all know, right? But then even scenes that we don't know. And for like, look at this. Isn't that odd? Like, when would you see a pregnant nun? Very odd. But it takes the story that you learn in Nightmare on Elm Street 5, most particularly Elm Street 6, actually, which I wasn't even in, but it goes in, you know, 6 really gives the background to Freddy Krueger. You know, we see that, and look at this, I don't know if you can see that, but oops, am I showing it the right way? So here's Amanda. She's reaching out to the car that's taking baby Freddy away, and there's the moon that's looking like Freddy, and even the tree kind of looks like his glove, foreshadowing. But anyway, it takes the stories that we learn in the movie, but it fills in all the blanks, because you don't really learn a lot. You know, you get sort of a hint. You know that he was raised by a mean stepfather, which Alice Cooper plays, you know, and we know he gets beaten the crap out of, and he was teased as a kid, and we know that he gets married. We know he had a wife and a daughter, and then he ends up killing his wife in front of the daughter. But that story, that, you know, things, I draw it out, all the missing pieces, and kind of sew it together. So we learn the background of who that stepfather was. Was there a stepmother? Why was he beating Freddy? Did Freddy have, what kind of relationship did he have with his mom? I mean, we know that she had to give him up for adoption because she was a nun, but he clearly knows who she is. I mean, he's scared of her, and he hates her, and all this stuff. And so what kind of relationship did they have? And it so anyway, this is the whole backstory prequel, and where it ends, when this story ends, is where Nightmare on Elm Street begins. So, and that's with her, it ends with her, locking herself away in the tower when he's being burnt by the parents.
Mhm.
And it's gotten, if I may shamelessly plug, I mean, phenomenal reviews from the Fred heads, from other writers, from people in the industry, people who worked on Elm Street. Everyone's loved the book. And
Nice.
it's a great collector's item written by me in Amanda. It's told in her voice. It's her speaking. So she'll know stuff that you, or she won't know things that you will know as you're reading it. She doesn't know her son's a killer. She's the mom, and so when you hear her describing her baby and his beautiful 5 little fingers, the audience is going, oh, because as you're reading it, we think of his glove, but she's so anyway. So that's the Kruger's Curse.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Those would be really cool prints too, to like get blown up like
Yeah.
that,
Yeah, they would be. Because it was great artwork. I hired the artist to do. The Joe St. Pierre, he actually writes. He does cartoons for DC Comic and Marvel, and good stuff there. But
very cool. Thanks for sharing that.
Sure.
Okay, it's time for the announcements of the evening. Tonight's episode is brought to you by Hedgewitch Hall, Tease with Intent. Tease with Intent, helping you find your own moment of magic. Check them out online, hedgewitchhall.com, or they're always at the Central Kentucky Mystical Market. But it's basically some great teas and tea blends, depending on how much caffeine you want, what your interest is, how you like it, bagged or loose leaf. They got it all. But check them out online, Tea with Intent, Hedgewitch Hall, hedgewitchhall.com. And tonight, the worst kept secret in the history of the Scarefest, Doug Bradley. Doug Bradley is coming to Scarefest. Of course, he's been. Okay, somebody in the chat room tell me how many Hellraiser movies did he do? I counted 5, I think, and quit. But yeah, he's Hellraiser 1, 2, 3, Bloodline. What was the other one I was remembering? Anyway, whole bunch of them. Doug Bradley is coming, and it is official now because I put his banner out there. Okay, Tom Devlin. Tom Devlin is our other announcement for the evening. Now, Tom is basically a special effects and makeup effects guru. If you don't believe me, go to his IMDb and just look at all the stuff he's done. I mean, Puppet Master, Axis Termination, Axis Rising. Oh, that was, I won't bring that one out because this is Triple X. Anyway, The Portal, Mega Piranha, and then gets up in the makeup department. Bermuda Island, Ravenwolf Towers, Killjoy Goes to Hell. Whole bunch of stuff. But he is coming. Tom Devlin will be at the Scarefest. And don't forget, get your tickets for Reed Masterson's Magic Show. It is a ticketed event this year during the day. It will be held during the convention. But this year we have setting aside a stage and a room. He won't just be on the floor. He will be downstairs in the entertainment area, panel room. So check him out online. Just go to the ticket page, scroll down till you find him. But Reed Masterson's Magic Show is a ticketed event this year, and we want to sell some tickets. While you're on that site, we've got one of our T-shirts. Now, this was Terrence Muncie's design. Normally, we don't have outside artists do any of our T-shirts. This year, Terrence wanted to do one, and he's worked with us on a lot of stuff. We said, hey, Terrence, what you got? And it's been phenomenal. The response on it has been phenomenal. So you can get the official Scarefest Weekend Terrence Muncie Edition T-shirt. We're pre-selling them. Now, they will be for sale available at the convention. But if you're worried about your size selling out or what have you, go online, pre-buy it, because they're all pre-sale. So yeah, buy it ahead of time, and we'll have it there waiting for you. So yeah, but that is one of our designs that we're going to be having on our T-shirts. The Central Kentucky Mystical Market. Now, this is something we talk about all the time. Lexington's premier monthly psychic and holistic event at the Clarion Hotel on Newtown Pike. It's coming up next weekend, August 20. Is that next weekend? Yeah. 26th. I have no track of time now. It's all just a blur. But the 26th, 27th. Yeah. Find them on Facebook or look them up online, centralkymysticalmarket.com. And the film festival we're counting down the days now. A couple weeks left. We're actually, I hate to admit it, we're actually off from last year. We're less than 100. We had just over 100 entries last year. Of course, what was it last year? About 12 of them came in the last week.
Exactly.
So we may still get there, but the film festival is in its final days for getting to be a part of that. So if you are a filmmaker or you know a filmmaker, reminder. Now, I'm still going to plug my Sleepaway Camp cosplay. Now, this is what I will do. This image right here. If I get 100, actually, I'm going to back it off. If I get 50 subscribers to my Patreon channel, which is basically, I'm documenting my recovery from the heart event I had back in March. So it's a whole lot of stuff about me working out, the trials and tribulations of being a 59-year-old out of shape guy trying to get back in the shape he was in when he was 18. But in the process, if I get enough subscribers, I'm going to do that cosplay to honor Sleepaway Camp. And if I get 100 of you, now we'll do the tramp stamp still. I will do it with a temporary tramp stamp.
Oh.
But yeah, no, I'm not that industrious. Patreon.com/ScarefestRadio, or look it up on my Facebook page, or look it up on scarefestradio.com. But patreon.com/ScarefestRadio. Now, if you just want to do something that's a little more charitable, I'm also involved in the 50 push-ups a day challenge for St. Jude's Children's Hospital. And so far, I still got 30 to do today. Okay, I'm not done today, but I've kept it up. I had to switch to knee push-ups because if you're members of my Patreon, you would know that I have a shoulder that sounds like this when I do push-ups. So yeah, bone on bone. It's really ugly, but I'm doing them. I'm still doing them. And okay, other stuff we need to talk about. I don't know how to tease that. Adrian said, "Hey, we have a watch closely on Facebook. Watch closely on Facebook. We are going to have another celebrity event on Thursday night. We have not announced it. We don't have all the details yet, but I can tell you it will, and it's going to be because where we're having it is not that big. It will be a limited availability, limited tickets. So keep your eyes open on that. Something else we're adding, we're not ready to give you details on, but in our classroom on the second floor, we're going to have a cookie decorating class. There will be someone there teaching you how to decorate Halloween-themed and horror-themed cookies.
That's
so where
awesome.
Where else can you find that? What other conventions do that? And I think that's all I was supposed to say. Okay. Now, back to Beatrice Boepple, our guest this evening. Let's see, oh, how much is the book you just showed us?
It's $50. That includes the personalized autograph, which is $40, so it's basically $10. But you have to get it autographed by me, and yeah.
There you go.
There you go. And actually, I don't know what I'm a senile. I'm 61. I'm older than you, but and my memory is like out the window. But yeah, Scarefest is where this is where I'm doing my yoga.
That's what we teased it. Adrian asked me about it. Yeah. Beatrice Boepple will do yoga, and I said, "Cool." And
exactly.
We're doing it. It's basically we're gonna do. We understand we've decided to do chair yoga because we're in a convention center.
Right. Yeah. So there's no. Yeah. So we will be doing chair yoga, and so chair yoga with Mama Kruger. Yeah. I knew.
I'll be there. I'm excited about it. I will be there.
Good.
That's really
and
cool.
You will feel the difference in your body. It's definitely Yeah, so anyone can do it. Don't be scared, gentlemen. You know, where it's not all getting twisted into a pretzel. And the funny thing is, when people say to me, "Oh, I can't do yoga," or I can't do this or that because I'm too tight. I'm not flexible. It's like, oh, duh. To me, that's like saying, oh, what, I can't eat because I'm so hungry. It's like, no, that's why you eat, because you're hungry. In the same way, that's why you do yoga or stretch out, because you're tight. It's, yeah.
I absolutely agree with you, but I understand the emotion though, because I've seen some things classified as beginner yoga that it's like, no, hell no. My body just ain't doing that. It ain't happening, despite any embarrassment. In my case, beyond just the normal wear and tear, I have a bad shoulder. I'm in therapy. She's getting worked out. The only thing I can't do, the thing you do when you're on a bicycle and your signal thing is stop.
Oh, right.
That movement is extra stiff on me. Everything else I've done real good. So,
okay. Okay.
Yeah, that and yes, I yoga is on my radar once I get done doing push-ups for the month.
Okay.
Because I people have limited time. That's the other thing. But
this is
yeah,
true. Yeah.
people, I will agree with 100% with what you said though. If you think you're too stiff to do yoga, that's when you need to do yoga.
Right. Yeah. So check it out. I mean, what other horror con have you ever gone to where you got to do yoga, and that you got to do yoga with Freddy Krueger's mom? So, this is I'll come and haunt you if you don't take my yoga class.
Now, okay, now back to serious movie questions. We got a few minutes left. When you got into by the time Nightmare 5 came out or was done, this was already obviously proving to be a pretty big deal, the franchise.
Right.
Did you as a innocent young actress, because I couldn't find anything that you did that was really over the top. Did you realize how you're walking into a legendary franchise and with a character that was like built-in legendary? Did you even know that at the time?
No, not a clue. I mean, I knew who Freddy Krueger was. I had seen Nightmare on Elm Street 1. And I will be honest, as far as Amanda Krueger, I had not seen number 3, so I did not know that she had existed before. I didn't know she had been played before. And I'm grateful that I didn't. In a lot of ways, I'm glad I didn't know that somebody had played the role prior to me. Because Nan Martin, I mean, her portrayal of Amanda was really cool and strong and powerful and scary, but so different than what I would have played. And, had I seen hers first, then I would have tried to either emulate her interpretation or, something like that. And it just wouldn't have been it wouldn't have been my Amanda. And as far as the flow of the film, it's fine. Like it does make sense that she would be different, and certainly that she'd be older 30 years later, or whatever in time wise it was supposed to be. So I think that worked out, but I had no clue other than I was aware of Nightmare on Elm Street. I was aware of who Freddy Krueger was, but I had no clue how iconic it was. And I had, none of us knew that it would be lasting this long, that it would be it would stand the test of time. No way. So, and I'm glad, I guess I wasn't a major, huge horror fan at the time, because I mean, Robert Englund's mom, like, it would have been, I would have been like, so in that particular case, knowing less worked out, I think, to my benefit. So that I was able to do it without being nervous, and
okay,
I think the weight of it.
A couple more quick ones about yoga, then we're going to take a commercial break. We'll come back. Claire, have anything you have left queued up, because I'm going to go straight to you after the commercial break, and Bonehead Weekly. But I do want on the yoga. First of all, have you discussed, is this going to be a paid or free event? My understanding was it was going to be paid, but like cheap.
Yeah, well, I think it should be pretty affordable. I had said when we talked about doing it, I don't know if Adrian has decided what charity, but I mean, it would be to go to something. It could be, I shouldn't say anything right now because I don't know who it would go to, but a good charitable, I mean, could be Scares the Care or something horror related or
we
not.
have several that we support, right?
Yeah. So it would all go towards that. And it will be, paid, but not, again, I don't know. I think she's going to set the price.
Yeah. Okay.
And we'll have chairs. There'll be, and again, anyone and everyone can do it. However, if you're in really tight jeans or something, you're going to have a bit of problems. So I think it's going to be early in the morning one of the days, so people should just come in their PJs before they go to the convention.
Yeah, we're looking at.
I'm like, is this?
I believe it's Saturday morning. We're looking at it. So yeah, where are your sweatpants?
Yeah, not cosplay friendly. Take it.
Yeah, you're not going to be wearing,
Not your cosplay anyway. Now, incidentally, if we waited till Sunday and I did my Old Man Logan, because I'll be wearing although I'm doing it in boxer shorts this year. I think now I'm going to wear underwear under them. But yeah, my Old Man Logan Wolverine. This year I am going to go all out and I'm going to wear my smiley face boxers. Anyway, commercial break. Spirit Mechanics, longtime supporter of the show, still a supporter of the show, and now they have a brick and mortar store, 1018 East New Circle Road, Unit 114. That doesn't matter. Pull the parking lot, you'll see it. Spirit Mechanics at 1018 East New Circle Road, and they've added Stevens Healing Vibrations to their normal lineup of books, divination, and altar supplies, tarot, and oracle decks. But Stevens Healing Vibrations, Stephen Tyree, he uses vibrational sound, tuning forks, singing bowls, etc. And, okay, I don't claim to be any great skeptic. I really did not expect any great thing out of it when I tried it. I was damn impressed. Mm-hmm. Whether it's the sound, the vibration itself, but he'll work on a part of your body. In my case, it was my hip. I don't remember which one, but I was able to walk much better after he worked on me. So check him out. Go to the website, spiritmechanics.com, like it says on the little panel there, or just go right ahead and head over to 1018 East New Circle Road. Now, over to Bonehead Weekly.
Hey, Scarefest. This is Joe Lewis of Bonehead Weekly. Oh, man, I was at Huntington Comic-Con, and I'm not name dropping, but I was at Huntington Comic-Con and had a couple hours to myself. And there's 2 horror films out, and I'm going to go see the second one because I couldn't get to see the second one. But I decided, and the only reason I picked this particular one, I wanted to see both. The reason I picked this one is because it fit my schedule. I sat down and watched Talk to Me. If you've not heard of Talk to Me, if you're into horror films, I don't know how you haven't. It's been kind of blowing up. I didn't even realize it was Australian and that it takes place in Australia, but it is. Younger folks, one of them, their mother has passed away. She may or may have not committed suicide, and she's staying with her friend and her friend's son, or her friend and her friend's little brother, and their mom and her other. They're basically just hanging out. And they sneak out to go to a party. And at this party, they've been watching these TikTok videos, kind of like. What it is this plaster hand, kind of like this. It's got stuff written all over it. You put your hand on it and you say, "Talk to me." And you see dead people. It's so good. It is a horror film because we're dealing with death. Peter Jackson, the man who made Lord of the Rings and gave me one of my favorite films, Dead Alive, and Lord of the Rings trilogy, had a quote saying it was the most brooding, atmospheric, scary film he'd seen, horror film in years. I don't know that I completely agree with that. We'll break it down in a second. But it is pretty damn good, and you should go out and watch it. This movie is so good. It's so well acted. And it's well written, and all the characters are believable. Now, if you have to have an explanation for every reason and every why this is happening, it's not the movie for you. But if you can just get on if you can just buy the ticket, take the ride, as Hunter Thompson would say, in just 90-some minutes, not a long commitment, and go to your movie theater, go to the movie theaters. People complain about not having horror films. You go to the theater, original horror films, see this. They'll make more of them. You don't know necessarily where it's going. Did it scare me and deeply? So the only reason I'm saying that this isn't the best horror film I've seen in 5 years, but it is a damn good one, even though it doesn't really end terribly for everyone, it does end badly for a couple, is that there is a little bit of hope in it. And I think that's the reason a lot of people like it. There's a little bit of hope. There's a little bit of hope. And the reason why I think it just didn't tear me down is because there was just a little bit of hope. If they had removed the hope, I think this may have been the best horror film I've seen in 10 years. But there's hope, and hope's not a bad thing. And some of you all need it. Sometimes I wish I needed it. I think that's the only stone I can throw at it, is like, oh man, there's just a little bit of, it's not an upbeat ending, but there's a little bit of hope. And I can explain this more in detail, but I can't explain it without giving stuff away. So if you see it and you want to talk to me about it, I'm more than happy to explain what I mean by that. This movie is well acted, incredibly well written and directed. There is not much to even complain about. It's directed by these two twin guys, Danny and Michael Philippou, who I don't know, and they did some mini-series, and they're really young, but they're really talented, and I can't wait to see what they do next. The Sophie Wilde, who's Mia in this, is a fantastic actress. She's just fantastic actress, and she's the lead. There's just not a moment in the movie where I don't believe her. I don't want to tell you too much, but I want you to go out and I want you to watch Talk to Me. See it, grab the hand, and say, talk to me. And just take the ride from there. The least you know, the better you are. It's not like there's a bunch of twists and turns, but the least you know, the better you are. Go out and check out Talk to Me. This has been Joe Lewis, Bonehead Weekly. Talk to you later. Talk to me.
Yeah, so we were just chatting a little bit about Stakeout. So tell us more about that. I was going to say about the car chases. Like, did you get to witness any of that firsthand?
Of the car chases? No. Mine was all indoors, in studio. But we, I was in the kitchen cooking, and then I was in bed with Emilio Estevez, having to kiss him and, this kind of stuff. So, no, it was a wonderful, wonderful experience. And, one of the things I was so excited when I knew I was coming to Scarefest was when I saw that Richard Dreyfuss would be there, because we have not seen each other since we filmed. Emilio Estevez and I, have kept in touch ever since. And at least when I was living in Los Angeles, we'd get together every few weeks, go out for a bite to eat and stuff. But I have not kept in touch with Richard Dreyfuss. But we had, he will, I don't know that he'd recognize me just by me walking up, but as soon as I said who I was, he would totally remember. Because we had a really nice connections, and we had a lot of fun on set. So, so I'm very much looking forward to that. But yes, if you guys haven't seen Stakeout, I don't know how well timing, with its timing and stuff, how that would play. Some of the 80s movies, are probably very slow for current day audiences. I don't know. Yeah. Has anyone watched it recently?
I literally watched it today.
Oh, okay.
It kept my attention. So.
Oh, good. Okay. Because they take longer to develop characters and, talking and stuff. Like, it's not as, sometimes they're just not as, it's just a different kind of pace. But I remember at the time loving the movie. Although I've had movies that I remembered really, really loving, and then that, they come on TV or something, and I tell people, oh my God, you got to watch this. And then we sit down and watch, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. One of them was a movie called The Doberman Gang.
What?
Does anyone know that?
No.
No, I didn't even.
Yeah, The Doberman Gang. I love dogs, and when I guess I was a kid, and this movie was on, and it was about this incredibly highly planned bank robbery, and they trained these Dobermans.
I do remember that.
Yeah, and I just remember thinking it was so cool, and the action was amazing, and the Dobermans were so trained that they would know if you put $1 too little in their bag, they knew by weight and all this stuff. So I talked my friends into it, and when I was in the city in New York, and so we sat around waiting for this thing, and then it comes on, and I should have known by the song, those were the gosh darnest dogs that a man did ever see. All of them were animals, just like you and me. I mean, oh my God. And it was just all downhill from there. Anyway,
Oh.
but Stakeout I think is still good, a good movie.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
The original, not the second. I didn't see the second one because they didn't bring my character back, so I refused to watch it.
Yeah. I didn't realize that there was a second one.
Yeah, and Rosie O'Donnell was in it.
Oh.
Well, there's my reason for not watching it anyway.
Oh, don't be mean.
I'm allowed to be mean. I'm actually
Okay.
becoming famous for being mean. We had a staff meeting. We had a volunteer meeting a week ago, and someone told Adrian, she said, he's getting meaner as he gets older, and I love it. So, you know, so I'm allowed to do this. Everybody, this is
Simon Cowell. Sorry.
Yeah, kinda. Except that, I don't know. I think he's still kind of warm and fuzzy next to me. Anyway, okay, everybody. This has been Scarefest TV. Of course, our guest tonight has been Beatrice Boepple, and she's going to be a guest at Scarefest this year. So, and yoga, the only convention, period. Unless it's a yoga convention but okay, the only fan convention anywhere that we're going to have a yoga class with an actual famous, honest to God person. So, and if you haven't watched it, somebody in the chat room said he has not watched Nightmare 5. He's going to after we talked about it. And if you have family night, I seriously suggest Christmas Comes to Willow Creek. Y'all think I'm bullshitting you. I'm not. I watched every minute. I paused it when I left the room.
Wow.
We will see you.
I don't know. You had me at Porn Stash. I love men.
Oh, it was it was classic. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Wopat had a beard, which Tom Wopat with a beard is just Tom Wopat with a beard. But when I saw that Porn Stash,
Iconic.
oh, it was. God.
He's gonna dream about it tonight.
Yeah, I think so. Like,
Well, I mean,
liking it too much there.
What can I tell you? I miss the 80s. There, I said it. Everybody, this has been Scarefest TV.
See ya.